On today's show, we will break down the latest ESPN 7-round mock draft from Matt Miller, as we will react and break down to all of the Cowboys' picks in that mock draft. Now, first, the March like battle is underway, and we are barely behind Eagles now. We can close the gap on this video alone. I've seen it happen before. So help us out, stick it to Philly, and like the video right now. Let's break down this ESPN 7-round mock draft. First, in round one, Matt's got the Cowboys taking Amarius Mims out of Georgia. Here's the argument from Miller, and I would be on board with the risks involved still of this pick. It says Dallas let Tyron Smith walk with no obvious replacement on the roster, at least creating another hole elsewhere. Mims is an easy-moving, elite agility, length, and power player. He has started 8 games in college after waiting his turn behind 2023 first-round pick Broderick Jones and missing time last year with an ankle injury. But those 8 games of tape are beautiful. The Cowboys could play Mims at guard and move Smith to tackle, or keep Smith inside and play the ascending Mims on the blind side. In an offseason where Dallas was the last team to sign a free agent, there are more questions than answers right now, so the draft will be crucial. Nothing really wrong from that perspective. The things I saw from Mims were, he's not raw. He just hasn't played. When he's played, he's been really good. This team tends to draft offensive linemen in round one really well. They don't miss very often. Mims is risky. Make no mistake about it. There are concerns. I think the medical is a big concern, frankly. But back end of round one, Mims has the upside, the raw ability, the talent to be a top 5 player from this class. Yes, I would gamble on him. Others on the board in round one, this board actually felt pretty good for Dallas. You could trade down, frankly, and I'd be okay with it. Tyler Guyton's there as another. He is raw as a tackle. Graham Barton could play guard or center for this team. Liatu Latu's got medical concerns, but that makes them valuable, right? Could be a top defensive player in this class if he's healthy. Chop Robinson fits your bursty athletic piece off the edge. A.D. Mitchell among the other dynamic receiver options if you want to go BPA. If Mims is there in round one, I'm happy with that pick. So will the Cowboys draft offensive line in round one? Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comment on today's video. If that ad comes on YouTube, great. Ignore it. No one cares. Head down to the pinned comment and vote instead. Round two, Jonathon Brooks. This one wouldn't be a huge surprise. There are things to like and to be very, very scared about as well. Here's the pitch from Matt. The Cowboys have yet to replace Tony Pollard, but could get a potential round one prospect on a discount offer after Brooks suffered an ACL tear in November. He should be cleared this summer to return to football action, which gets him on the field in time for training camp. And it's time to take the RB1 title here. He rushed for over 1,000 yards and 10 scores last year before the injury. Had Brooks been healthy, he probably doesn't get to Dallas in round two. But he's not healthy. And that is a concern because you're drafting a guy coming off an injury in round two, and they've done that a lot, and it doesn't typically pan out very well. You promise me a healthy career? It's a no-brainer. Can't promise that to me. It makes me anxious, especially when every other running back was on the board in this scenario. Led by Trey Benson from FSU, and you could have pushed them all down even later, potentially. Other guys, Cooper Beebe, who if you don't go tackle in round one, could make some sense. Tyler Nubin, TJ Temple, Troy Franklin was still there at wide receiver. Not great defensive tackle options, unfortunately, but I will not be surprised if and when they take Jonathon Brooks. They clearly like him. But I am anxious about that ACL tear. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time is the place to find last-minute tickets to your next big event, sports and non-sports. They take the guesswork out of buying tickets. They got the lowest price guarantee, even cancellation protection, job loss protection as well. You got views from your seats in the venue so you know exactly what your visual is going to be, whether it is concert or sports related. The Game Time guarantee means you will always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. That link and the code, of course, CHATSPORTS, will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Always watch out for zone deals, by the way. You can't find them for every game or event, whatever. But you pick the section, Game Time picks the seats for big savings. Who's care if you're in seat 7 or seat 13? Use those zone deals when you find them. I'll say this. I am in love with this third-round pick. Jalen Polk out of Washington falls to Dallas in the third round, and I kind of would be fairly shocked if he actually did fall to Dallas that far. I've got a second-round grade on him myself. Here's what Matt Miller argued about the Texas Tech transfer. The Cowboys seem allergic to adding talent opposite CeeDee Lamb. Thanks for the stray, Matt. But I'm forcing them to give Dak Prescott another playmaker with a physical Polk. He can be a mismatch problem on underneath routes at 6'1", 230 pounds. Kind of a weird argument. He was actually really good downfield this year. So I'm not sure why we're pushing the underneath angle, but yeah, whatever. I digress. You've got a 4.52 athlete with 37.5 inch vert at 200 plus pounds. It's really good athletic ability. Has played some inside and some outside. The Huskies' offense was really good in part because their receivers were so good. I'd love him in the third round. Other players who are on the board, Brandon Dorlus out of Oregon, I am very intrigued by. Jermaine Burton was your next best receiver probably. Jeremiah Trotter, if you want the linebacker. Dwayne Carter out of Duke as another D-line guy. Also, Braylon Allen was there too. Fifth round, since there's no fourth round pick, we'll jump ahead here. Hunter, I believe it was pronounced Nourzad, the center out of Penn State. Day 3 is the right spot for him. Now, there were times that, the pressures are a little bit high. I think it's more of a compete for a starting role, not like the obvious locked-in starter over Brock Hoffman, but it gives you another option. And I in general, I would like to have the top 100 pick on offensive lineman and non-top 100 picks on an offensive lineman. And that was accomplished here. 2 of your first 4 picks because you're light on draft capital. Who do you want to draft on day 3? Any keep it realistic, like don't put in Marvin Harrison Jr., But drop that player name for me in the comments section. Justin Rogers out of Auburn. You know how there's no one technique depth on this team? Now there is. Justin Rogers, my friends, is a very large human being whose game pretty consistently reflects, what you would expect out of a dude who measured in at 6'2 and a half, 330 pounds with fantastic length. He's not a very good athlete. Even for his size, it's kind of not good. That's how nose guards are. The nose guards, unless they're like a Vita Vea freak or even Monty Smith freak, trigger alert, I guess, they don't test that great. But depth as a run stopper, on late day 3, let's ride. We will have live coverage for you of the 2024 NFL Draft. Do not miss out. We got you guys covered. Hit that sub button right now. To the 7th round, it's another running back, which I find interesting. Kendall Milton out of Georgia. This is a bigger running back. This could be your power back to an extent. Has never really handled a full workload, which is a red flag. But 6.5 yards per carry, 7 yards per carry last year. He's made some nice plays happen in his time in the NFL, or excuse me, college, obviously. You're making him kind of your power back. He's 6'1 and a half, 225. 4'6", 240 isn't great, but there is some good explosiveness there. He'd probably compete with Hunter Lipke to be your power back and maybe force out a Malik Davis or somebody in the process. Round 7, Kalen DeLoach out of Florida State. This is actually, I mocked him in another mock draft as well, so I like this one. We won't spend that much time on it since we kind of talked about it previously. I'm looking for more, I need more linebacker depth. DeLoach is kind of a straight line athlete for me, but he can blitz, which Mike Zimmer likes, and his profile does translate pretty well to being a special teams demon. He's not the biggest guy. He's sub 6 foot, 210 pounds. He's kind of that safety linebacker hybrid, but he ran a 4.47. So at least weight size, he's a linebacker, but he has the weight of a safety. I should clarify there. Straight line athlete, 7th round special teamer, perfect. There we go. So this is the ESPN 7-round mock draft. Amarius Mims, the 1st round, love it. Jonathon Brooks, round 2. ACL worries me. Jalen Polk in the 3rd round, love that one. And day 3 is all pretty solid. Maybe you don't want a second back, but so be it. 7th rounder, you can't have a bad 7th round pick. Hunter Nourzad, Justin Rogers, Kendall, Milton, and Kalen, DeLoach. So grade this Matt Miller ESPN mock draft for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Drop that grade in the comments section.